This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 85. Welcome to Comic Geek Speak. I'm Brian Deemer.
I'm Matt. I'm Shane Kelly.
I'm Jamie D.
I'm Peter Rios.
We are sexy bitches, yeah!
And welcome to the show. This episode of Comic Geek Speak is sponsored by the New York City Comic Con, February 24th through 26th at the Jacob Javits Center in New York. You can get your tickets online if you want to ahead of time. A Friday-only pass is $15, Saturday or Sunday is $25, and all 3 days is only $35. Gonna have some big names at this show. They have Jim Lee, Joe Quesada, Todd McFarlane, Brad Meltzer.
Neil Adams and Jim Steranko were just announced not too long ago.
Yeah, a lot of big names. So we will be there all 3 days. So come meet us, and it's going to be a good time. And the dogs are barking outside, and it's penetrating in through the house to the microphones.
They're cold.
The German Shepherd, she doesn't get cold. All right. For a reminder of our December Book of the Month Club, go to the website and get all the information there. We're still waiting on contest winner for November theme song winner. So as soon as we know, we'll announce that. And Shane, you have a new contest?
Yeah. Back earlier, late summer, I purchased Rainbow Connection Kermit. We've talked about on the show before. And I bought an extra one to use as a prize for some contest and didn't know what I wanted to do with it and kind of put it in the back burner of my mind and forgot about it for a little while. But what we're going to do is I'm going to take a couple pictures of different displays I have in my room as examples. What we'd like to see is if you have action figures, how you display them, whether they be set up very static, like lined up, whether they be in a diorama pose, carded, open, doesn't matter. If you have a toy display that you want to show off and possibly win a Rainbow Connection Kermit, we're going to create a thread, probably a sticky at the top, and you can post your pictures there. And then we all will look at them and decide which one we like the best. And it doesn't, you can put as much effort into it as you want. You can just have packages hanging on the wall and take a picture. It just depends on what we look at and like the best as what figures you have.
Diorama.
What figures you have, what you have, how you have them posed, what order you have them in, anything. It can be anything. The reason I didn't make it only diorama is because some people like me. I have my Muppets mint on card, and some people like that. And I actually won a prize from Palisades for sending in a similar thing because they liked how I had them displayed. So I'm like, well, all right, I'm going to open up because some people don't want to go into that effort.
Teasing.
There could be a guy with like 1,000
1,000
things
hanging
on the
all
wall
over.
that just looks so cool.
Yeah. So I'm going to post an example, a couple different things, and you guys can just take a look at it and go from there. Go crazy with it. Go simple. It doesn't matter. Just post a picture of whatever toys you have and how you like them.
Give a real quick synopsis of the Rainbow Kermit.
Rainbow Connection Kermit was created by Palisade Toys and is still available on their website at www.palisadetoys.com. You purchase it, and out of the, I believe it's $25, and out of that, $22 goes directly to one of the hospitals in Florida, which the name escapes me at the moment. And it's in dedication or in memory of Cooper Perry, who is a friend of Michael Horn, who is the president of Palisades, a friend of his family's son who passed away over a year ago now. And it's to help create treatments for neurological disorders. So it's very important to them. It became important to me because of my kids and their age, and I think it's worthwhile. So if you haven't purchased one and you want one, go to the website and buy them. It's definitely worth your time and money. The figures are beautiful. They put out top quality product, and that's why I decided to buy an extra one to give away, just to be able to put some more money into it.
And there was an episode that we did that Shane really goes into detail and reads a letter, and in the show notes I'll post that unless he finds it. And that contest is running, we're saying, until the end of January.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they can enter as many times as they want?
Yeah, I would say so. If they have different poses or different dioramas, different displays, sure. Yeah, cool. I'm not going to be able to find it real quick.
Right, that's right. And do we want to announce our other contest?
I guess we can. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about what we
That's
did
what
first?
I figured we'd do, yeah.
Okay.
You know, you had to ruin. I was going to segue into
sorry.
it nicely. and-
You were
Episode
staring at me.
33.
Episode 33.
33.
Good.
Yep, that's where I go into a lot of detail about Cooper Perry.
Check it out.
all
Sorry,
right.
I stopped all over your...
Yeah, I know. I was trying to be all slick and professional, and you know.
Way to be anticlimactic.
So anyway, Upper Deck Company, thanks to a connection on the show, Dylan Northrup, and he gave me a contact name in San Diego, and I met a guy, Ian Estrin, who works for Upper Deck, and I met him at the insanely busy Upper Deck booth. Oh my goodness! And they do the Versus card game, collectible card game, and Ian then hooked us up with a whole box of the Fantastic Four starter decks from Versus, and we were very lax about it, but finally this weekend we got together and we sat down and we played Versus, and I think we enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Now, Jamie and I had played a lot of Magic in the past, so we were very familiar with the trading card game concept. Peter and Matt, however, were slightly confused in the beginning.
I still stick by
Slightly.
what I said. Whatever happened to the days where you just used to punch each other for fun?
I would be more along their lines as a role-playing guy. I never played Magic when it came out.
I mean,
But-
once you played it, it made sense.
Yeah, and now Jamie and I are both contemplating buying some more cards to be able to play with some mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, now they've come up with like the Avengers set and the JLA set. I wouldn't mind putting some of those together and playing.
Yeah, because you can mix and match
Absolutely.
DC and Marvel characters.
Yeah, which is the whole fun thing about it. You know, you can see how it could be very addicting to go buy a bunch of cards when a new set comes out because you want to build cool teams, and
And it seems like the artwork alone on a lot of the cards is worth it.
especially the JLA ones.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Alex
sure there's
Ross.
a lot of Alex Ross on those.
So you could play a deck of like Avengers, and I could play a deck of JLA.
Yeah, but I mean, I could have JLA and Avengers mixed in my deck. It wouldn't matter.
Right. I just meant it. Could you be that isolated?
Oh, sure. You can be as isolated or as open as you want. It's totally up to you as the deck builder. I mean, there might be official rules that say you can only have so many copies of each kind of card. Like in Magic, in tournament rules, you can only have 4 of any one card. You know, so you can only have 4 Batmans or whatever. But other than that, you know, you can put in whatever cards you want. You can have as many or as few cards, or, you know, whatever.
And pardon me, in the decks they sent us, we got the Fantastic Four starter decks, which it had one half of the deck was the Fantastic Four, and the other half was Doctor Doom and his, you know, and bad guys from the Fantastic Four. And it was kind of neat. It was nice to see that it was really set up to, as soon as you crack that deck open, you were able to start to play right away.
Well, yeah.
And that's one thing that a lot of times you didn't get in a lot of other collectible card games. You weren't able to start.
And it's a 2-player.
right away,
Like,
yeah.
one starter deck is for 2 people to start. There were 2 decks inside the starter deck. I think it's 60 cards, and it's 30 cards of Fantastic Four and 30 cards of Doctor Doom, or about that many cards. And they have the quick start rules, which were really nice, because it's like a reduced set of rules that just to get you to play the game at first, and then once you get comfortable with a few hands of that, then you can read the whole rule book and learn all the intricacies of the game, which are pretty many. And we didn't even play it enough to really like master, you know, the advanced rules, but it's definitely intriguing, and it's cool to imagine these different heroes fighting each other and stuff like that, and it's pretty cool.
I'll be honest, at every show I've gone to, big, small, not real small, I'm not talking about your local stuff, but any show that has a bunch of vendors at it, usually they're there, and they are more than willing to show you how to play. They want you to come up, and they have demonstrations going on all the time. They have people teaching, and they even give you usually a T-shirt or something like that just to sit down, take 5-10 minutes when you're at a show and just learn how to play it if it sounds intriguing enough to you.
When I sat down at Philly and did it, there was a waiting list to learn how to play it.
Well, it's because they were giving away the Green Lantern T-shirt.
Cool Green Lantern T-shirt too.
I didn't want to just say that.
So it's pretty cool. I would recommend it. If you've ever played Magic or any of those other collectible card games and you enjoy that kind of thing, you're going to enjoy this if you're a comic book fan, because it is cool like that. And so we have 5 starter decks unopened that need a home. So we decided to have another contest that will run simultaneously with the toy contest. And this one is for all you budding artists out there. Draw a versus, picture. Pit one villain against another villain, or perhaps a whole team of superheroes against a team of supervillains, or what have you. And then we'll pick, I guess, our 5 favorites. Maybe we'll each pick one, and then you'll get a starter deck as a prize. So,
what about if they do a team of supervillains against the CGS guys?
Oh, that would be cool too.
That'd be fun,
We kick all their asses, that's for sure.
That means if you do that, Peter will automatically select you as a winner. So that translates.
Just make sure you get Peter's head big enough when you draw.
No.
Oh.
Notice Matt won't be in any of them.
That's right.
That's right. My photo is anonymous out there.
And since we have 5 starter decks, are we going to pick 5 winners? We didn't really talk about that.
Yeah,
because the
I would
starter decks are all identical, so it wouldn't really benefit anyone to have 5 starter decks. It would, be the same thing.
Yeah.
So, and what do they retail? They're $10 retail value.
I think so. I'm like $9.95, $10.95 around there.
Yeah.
Really?
So.
Yeah.
And what do booster packs cost? Do you know?
Either $2.95 or $3.95.
Okay.
I'm honestly not 100%
Come on, you're working at the store now, Jamie.
Are you kidding me? All the stuff I work there 1 day a week, and all the stuff in there.
Let's go. I'm calling Lem. Tell him you're not up to snuff.
That's fine. Go ahead.
You're not making the cut.
That's right. Yeah, it's lacking.
He skips out for the Stan Lee interview. He doesn't know the prices.
You mean you didn't make it for that one?
Reading comics
I was
off
there for the
rack.
interview, but I had to leave for the rest of the stuff.
And that one as well will run until the end of January.
Yeah.
And these are forum-only contests, not emails. We don't want you to send us an email of the picture or of the dioramas, or join the forum and post it on there.
That's an automatic loss if we get the email.
I guess maybe if they absolutely don't know how to do that, maybe they don't have an image hosting site or something like that.
Yeah,
you can ask questions.
But join the forum and post, and then send me the email. Actually, I would like everyone who enters to also email me a higher res version of their picture or their drawing, the picture of the toys and the drawings, so that when we put them on the website, they can be of a higher quality in addition to the low res ones that they put on the forum.
Right, because we want our everybody else to see it, and
Yeah.
that'd be cool. And maybe, who knows, if we get an overwhelming vote from the forum members, maybe one of us will give up our vote and let the forum decide or something like that. So easy breezy.
Cool. And if anybody, and I'll throw this out there because I know some of our fans have been very generous, and I will say, if there are fans out there who play Versus, and I know this from the days of playing Magic cards, you always ended up with like hundreds of extra cards that you never put in your deck, or you have 10 of the same character and you're only ever going to use 2 or 3. If anybody has, a pile of 20, 30, 50 cards or whatever that they know that they're never going to use and they're not worth anything because they're not the rare card or whatever, and you want to send them to us so we can play with a variety of cards, we would appreciate that. I'm not begging for a gift or anything. I'm just saying, because I know, I still have a box full of friggin' Magic cards that are not worth anything. Like, a buddy of mine went through and bought all the expensive ones, and now they're just the crap cards, but somebody might want them. So if you're playing Magic and you want some cards, let me know. I'll send you whatever I have. So
I'll add something to the toy one, too. Because the Rainbow Connection Kermit will be the first prize. Maybe I can come up with a second or third prize, because I got a lot of junk in my...
Carlene will be very thankful for that.
But I got a lot of stuff, yeah.
Let the forum, if the forum overwhelmingly picks one, that's different from your vote.
Yep.
So
I could come up with something good.
Will Carlene be able to decide what goes?
She'd give up the whole room.
That's the grand prize. That better be one hell of a picture.
She'll help you pack it up.
I'm entering that contest.
So we'll post all this on the forum. It'll be on two stickies, and then we'll just go from there.
Excellent.
Cool.
Can I do a quick toy thing? I forgot to add something. In the last episode, I did a toy spot, and I wanted to mention these coming out in 2006. They are Marvel Legends Masterworks. They are pre-put together dioramas, and if you don't know what a diorama is, it is a scene utilizing a couple figures doing something for one of the Marvel Masterworks, Marvel Legends Masterworks. It's the Fantastic Four fighting. What is that?
Mole Man's creature. And the second one coming out is the Green Goblin and Spider-Man. Green Goblin's coming up to Spider-Man who's hanging on the wall. They're going to be of varying scales, so they're not going to be all like Marvel Legends size figures and Mole Man creatures holding them. It's just going to retail for about $15, and they're just different scenes that Marvel Legends detail is going to be put into. I don't think there's going to be articulation. They're going to be static. Like a mini plastic
statue.
Yeah, mini plastic statue. But
That's cool.
They look cool.
I wish I could get a full-size mole man, like a mole man creature.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
If you want to see pictures of it or find out more, I found that information on Raving Toy Maniac's website, which is toymania.com.
Yeah.
That'd be something cool. We were talking about like all the Marvel Legends have like the Sentinel and the what was the other one? The Apocalypse?
Galactus.
No, Galactus. Yeah, that.
And Apocalypse is coming.
Oh, is he? Okay. And then they're doing the vehicles. What if they did one with monsters, Marvel monsters?
Well, they're doing
That'd be
one
cool.
with
Fing Fang Foom.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
yeah. They're doing one with like Hydra members and like
like henchmen.
Yeah, henchmen. Thank you.
The aim toy.
I want a toy with the AIM guy. That's awesome.
Buckethead.
Yeah.
That'd be great. All right. Email. We got one from Mike. Mike.
Just Mike.
Yeah. He says,
Hey,
hey
Mike.
gang, after listening to your Thanksgiving episode, I just got, he's missing a word. I just finished listening to your Thanksgiving episode, and I would like to talk a little. All right, I'm going to start over right now.
Isn't he returning?
Who's this from?
This is from Mike.
Okay.
I remember that much. I just finished listening to your Thanksgiving episode, and I would like to talk a little about it from a retail perspective. For starters, I run a shop in Chicago. Not Chicago, Colorado. Jesus.
What are you doing?
It moved from Chicago to Colorado. That's all.
Where all the people in Chicago I had a beer with, and then I went to Colorado and worked at a comic shop. I run a shop in Colorado while I finish college. I have been the manager since May 2005, and I've been with the company for almost 2 years. I'd like to give you a breakdown of what the retail side is like, in case you don't know. A long shot, but just in case. First, location is a huge factor. We have roughly a 2,000 square foot store in downtown of the city we are in. The cost is roughly $1 a square foot. The cost for this place is way too high. We have very little foot traffic, and the condition of the building and its neighboring businesses make it far less than an ideal place for the casual shopper to come by. Foot traffic is essential in this business because you have to be able to draw in new customers all the time. If you can't, you're in trouble. There is myself and one other employee here, which keeps the overhead in that aspect low. We are open 7 days a week, but neither of us are full-time. Next is the product. The dogs. If it was a perfect world, we wouldn't have to see Yu-Gi-Oh cards in a comic shop, but that is not the case. We have the games, cards, toys, statues, and all the other fluff that make comic stores collectible stores. Unfortunately, the internet has made collectibles, statues, toys, etc. too easy to get and is making it so hard for retailers to have these things and stay afloat. Oh my God, the dogs. These things are nice to have, but really not cost efficient, yet essential to keep the shop special and to make it appealing for those walk-in customers you need to survive. It is such a double-edged sword. I could go on and on, but I won't because I am tired and I don't want to have an aneurysm. One last thought. You guys should discuss or bash Marvel and their oversaturation of the market. I am sick of seeing new number ones for crappy characters that do not need a miniseries come out week after week. Fight the power. Thanks a lot, Mike. Hey, now you get out of here. Go. Oh, crikey, the dogs.
How do you have 2 employees open 7 days a week and none of them are full-time?
Magic. That's one of the mysteries of the mysterious whatever.
Wow. Doesn't that seem a little weird? I don't know. Maybe
exactly.
not.
I mean, if you're open from, like, say, 10 to 8...
It's still
that's
tough.
10 hours, and if you each worked 5 hours a day, times 7 is 35, that's not full-time. Yeah. I mean, it's close or whatever, so I guess, I don't know.
A lot of places consider 35 hours full-time.
Yeah.
Especially if you're working 7 days. I mean, we don't know that if he is or isn't, maybe, but still. That alone, I question.
Weren't some of the smaller shops around here, like not Golden Eagle, but...
Pagoda?
Yeah, weren't they closed a couple days during the week or had shortened hours during the week?
I think so.
And then Wednesday they were open longer because of comic book day. But
I think I remember Pagoda being like closed Tuesday or something weird like that.
I was thinking Sunday. I don't know why.
Well, Sunday would make sense, but I think there was some one of them was closed
maybe
on a
Sunday
weekday.
And a weekday.
Something I thought. I don't know. I mean, a lot of comic shops, like the one in Bethlehem, is the owner works there, and I think on Wednesday he might have a guy help him out. But if the store's open, he's working there, so he has no employee costs other than his own, which of course helps a lot, in keeping the cost down. But he's also, like he says, he's in a place where he doesn't get any foot traffic, so.
I mean, that's the thing, Golden Eagle is in the middle of a mall, so he has to open at a certain time, and he has to close at a certain time, whereas...
And he abides by their holiday schedules and stuff.
Whereas if you're just...
Tell me about that one.
Whereas Pagoda probably could open just whenever they wanted to and close whenever they wanted to. So that limits, some things.
What was the one where we visited Jamie of Earth 2? Beachhead?
Yeah.
In Allentown?
That's a nice place.
Yeah.
Is it still there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Where's that one?
It's right on Chew Street.
Corner of Chew Street and something.
Chew Street? Where the hell's that?
Chew Street runs through Muhlenberg College.
Where the hell's that?
It's right next
to Allentown.
It's right next to Null.
Hamilton, 222 becomes Hamilton. It's Hamilton, right?
Yeah, Hamilton Boulevard.
Chew runs the same as Hamilton. Like when you're going, it's on this.
They run parallel.
Yeah, they run parallel. So
before or after? It must be after Dorney Park?
Yeah. After. Oh, yeah. And so, like, if you would go over to Chew and go in that direction, there's a point where you can no longer, it becomes a one-way coming your way, so you have to go around, and it's almost literally, like, around a square block.
I believe it parallels Snuff, but I'm not quite sure.
But,
Chew and stuff.
For a while, Jamie of Earth 2 was working on Sundays to help the owner have a day off. But otherwise, he worked there, and, like this place had somebody help out on Wednesday or whatever for when comics came.
I can't believe that place is still there. I worked in Allentown for 3 years, and the one guy there was a hardcore... Well, Scott Apnell, he's a long-time customer at Golden Eagle. He lives in Allentown, and we always talk about what comic shops were around. And he never mentioned Beachhead ever, and I was very close to where I worked, so I can't imagine why he wouldn't have. Interesting.
You see the one in the at the Whitehall Mall, not the Lehigh Valley Mall, but that little mall right beside of him? There's one in there, too. That's very nice.
The Whitehall Mall.
It's literally right next door
to
Lehigh
There's
Valley
one
Mall.
in there still?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It was last time I was up.
Because I was there all the time.
Bruce Rosenberger, if you're listening.
Yeah, Bruce,
let us know.
Because the one that was on airport,
help us
the one that was on Airport Road closed. That was
Caps. That was Caps.
Caps. I went in there a few times.
What was the one right down from where you're living now? Was it All Star?
I don't know. I never knew that there was one there.
I think that lasted.
Wasn't that Gotham?
Our listeners don't care two bits about this.
That was over in Exeter, because that's where I got a Moon Knight issue that I was trying to get.
That Steve Platt issue.
Actually, yes, it was number 57. The unsigned one that I had, the only one that's worth anything. I think Kevin's going to buy those off of me, though.
Yeah, that'll be the day.
Don't hold your breath.
Hey, I'm going to do... this next email is from Rick Gordon, otherwise known as Maxim Glory on the forum.
Otherwise known as Nick Fury.
That's right. He wanted me to spend a few minutes talking about how we get an episode on the air. if you're not a podcasting person and you don't know the technical end of it, I'll just give a brief rundown, because there are other podcasts out there that are devoted solely to how to podcast. So, like the Pod Squad, and Adam Curry's show, he talks a lot about his hardware and things like that. But basically, we use two computers. We have the Mac, G5 iMac, that is running GarageBand, that records the input coming into the audio input. To process all of the audio, currently we're using a Yamaha MG10 mixer where we have 4 microphone inputs, and so that's feeding the 4 mics, and it's got phantom power, so it's amplifying the microphone signal, because in the iMac it has no amplified mic input, so you have to amplify your mic. Or you'd have to use a USB mic. But since we have 4, we're using the mixer. And I have a PC sitting here that I run iTunes that I play all the music from. So the audio goes out from the PC into an auxiliary input on the mixer, which gets mixed in with our mics. And then we have a Telos 1 digital hybrid that allows us to do the phone call recording. And that's hooked up using a Mix Minus input, which is our mics go out to that, and then the caller's input comes back to us, so we're not doubly recording our speech, and then that all gets mixed through the mixer and out to the Mac. Now, we did just get one of our listeners, Red. Oh, no, not Red Hood. Oh, crikey. Now I forget. But he just sent us, like, the biggest mother of a mixing board. It's got 8 mic inputs, 50 million dials and everything, and so now I have to become a professional board op to figure out how to... I haven't hooked it up. Well, I did a little test, but I need some adapters because the wiring is a little different, so I couldn't hook it up quite right yet. But we'll be upgrading to that bad boy soon. And it's awesome. It's freaking huge. It's totally professional. But like this mixer that we got, this Yamaha, is only $100. So if you want to do it with a better than just a little USB mic, it's only $100. So it's not going to break your bank all the way. The phone call recorder costs a big chunk of change because those bad boys aren't cheap. Microphones, the new mics that we're upgrading to are the Shure SM57s. They're like $90 each. And that's about it. I mean, it's really not that difficult. And then I just record it in iTunes. I mean, in GarageBand. Export it to iTunes, and then create the WAV file. I mean, the MP3 file on iTunes at 64 kbps, and then just upload it to the server, and that's it. So, if you want to know more information specific, just email me, and I'll give you that information. Unless,
of course, you're thinking about creating a competing podcast, and we have no idea how to do it, so you have to go someplace else.
That's right. There'll be if you want to be an affiliate of CGS, you can pay an annual dues of $5,000. And so, what are we talking about, Peter?
Top 5 female superheroes or super characters. Top 5 female characters. No, hopefully not like supporting characters, but actual like villain or hero or something like that. Who wants to go first? All right, I'll go first. Everybody's still thinking. Yeah. Where's my list? Dun, dun, dun. Okay. I went with this is no particular order except for the last one. Black Canary. Ever since I started reading, JLA was like one of the earliest books I've ever read, around issue 210, I guess it is, and she was in it for a little while after that before the new Detroit team came in. But I liked her character. I liked the dynamic between her and Green Arrow. And when they finally got around to doing the whole Birds of Prey thing, I really started to like what they did with her character. And she has great lineage, I mean, between, her mother being Black Canary, ties to the JSA, ties to the JSA. JLA Year 1, she played a really big part. She played a huge part in the new JSA series. So in the Longbow Hunters, she's really good. And especially in that Mike Grell ongoing Green Arrow series, they really moved her away from just his girlfriend into something a little bit more, a little more substantial as a character. So I really dig Black Canary. And I like the powered Black Canary, the one that has the sonic scream like she does now. When she didn't, I didn't care for that. Then I'm going to go with Jean Grey. Not the Phoenix, not the Dark Phoenix, just Jean Grey as herself. When she's written really well, I like her character. I can't say that I like the dynamic between her and Scott, her and Cyclops, or that I like Cyclops. I like her as a character. I think she can be very strong and I think she can be one of the strongest X-Men personality-wise. Kind of like the glue that holds them together. And I actually miss her in the books. I miss her in Astonishing. I wish she was around, which she's going to be back around soon, shortly. But so I have Jean Grey. This next one is totally just because I grew up reading the book, and it's Amethyst, and that's just a character that every time I see her, I was like, oh, there she is, because they use her so sparingly. Other than her series, she was in the Book of Fate for a little bit. She's tied to the Legion every now and then, and even in the current JSA series, she was mentioned. So I wish they would bring, now that they're bringing back Warlord and they're bringing back all these sword and sorcery and all these fantasy characters, I think it's the perfect time to bring this one back and pick up on all those cross-gen readers who lost Meridian and who lost Mystic and all those other titles. And she could also be used if they wanted to go this route, I think, for a younger female audience too. So she's on my list. Then I'm going to go with with Kitty Pryde. When I was reading the X-Men in the 80s, she was she was the most normal of the X-Men, I guess you could say, sort of. It sounds kind of weird, but she had something to say about everything, and as a young reader, you kind of look through her eyes at the other X-Men, and again, when she's done right, she's a really interesting character. I don't care too much about the whole ninja thing, and when they get in, I don't care about. But she's a very strong character. She always gets herself in trouble. I love Lockheed, so I put her on there. And then my last one is very obvious, is Donna Troy, just because I grew up with the Titans, grew up with her. She's another strong female character when she's done right. She's gorgeous. She's the other Titans treat her as an equal. She is an equal. She's sometimes the leader of that group. She's almost like the female version of Dick Grayson, where I know her as Donna Troy, not as Wonder Girl, not as Troy or Dark Star or whatever, and she just seems more grounded than her some of the other iconic female superheroes. So she's top on my list. Next.
I'll go next.
Go ahead.
I'll agree with you on Kitty Pryde because she's just like the most regular person. So as a person who has no superpowers, I feel like I can connect to her more, even though she has superpowers, but she acted normal. And I liked it because she always brought Wolverine down a level. They seem to always have a connection, and I always liked it when Wolverine acted a little more human, a little less crazy, and so she had that effect on him, which I liked. Plus, her superpower is just kind of cool, phasing in and out of everything. It was always fun. I'm going to say the White Queen, from good to, from bad to good and everywhere in between or whatever. She's just interesting character, and I like how she's British and everyone else is American, and you know, it was just kind of cool. They mixed it up a little bit with her and Scarlet Witch. For some reason, when I was in my teens, and I guess because she was in West Coast Avengers, right? And I think I read West Coast Avengers before I ever read Avengers, and so you know, when you're 14 or whatever, or 15, and you have it, somehow it sticks in your brain, and then for some reason I still like Scarlet Witch. And of course now with all that's going on with her, she's a major player in the Marvel Universe, so it makes her more relevant, I guess. So I don't know why I like her. Again, it's one of those, you know, you can't explain your youth. You feel fondness for him, and that's it. The only DC entry on my list, and this might sound odd at first, is Star Spangled Kid, Courtney, whatever she is. I think I like her for the same reason I like Kitty Pryde. Again, because she doesn't have any experience as a superhero, she doesn't have all this baggage that all the other superheroes have, and so she's looking at it through fresh eyes, and she's now she's, you know, Starman, you know, the next Starman, and so that is, of course, scores points with me because I love everything Starman. And I don't know, I like where they're taking her character right now and everything that they're doing with her. And when I thought, DC heroes, she's the first one who popped in my head. You know, female DC heroes. Like, well, you know what? I think I like that character a lot. At first, when I first read it, I thought, oh, come on. Some girl, Star Spangled Kid, what a stupid name, what a stupid costume. She was acting a little bratty at first, but they quickly got rid of that. And especially in recent issues, they really matured her a little bit now, where I think she's just right. And
do you know why Jeff Johns created her?
No.
He lost his sister in in that airplane accident off of New York. I forget what the flight number was. He lost his younger sister on that.
Really?
Yeah, and so he created Star Spangled Kid, and I think his sister's name was Courtney.
Huh.
So when she had that,
so that's a personal character for him. I guess it shows, you know,
because he had the ongoing series with her, and then she joined the JSA. So, and she was just on a Justice League Unlimited episode too.
And then for the number one, the other ones were kind of just whatever order, but number one for me is Sue Storm, and because I think she's the strongest female character in the Marvel Universe. She keeps the Fantastic Four together. If it wasn't for Sue, the whole FF wouldn't even exist, I don't think, because she keeps it rooted together. Yeah, and I think she's incredibly powerful, and they've only barely begun to touch on the capabilities of her superpower, and that's why I like her.
Next,
I'll go. This is no order whatsoever, really. First one that popped in my head was Fire from the Justice League series. And part of it's because of how quirky and campy those issues were. But even in other things, like I always laugh when in Justice League she was written like she was speaking American English. But she's actually Brazilian and has an accent. And in other issues more recent that I've read, they write her with her accent or certain words. So I always think it's funny that they wrote her so normally, so plainly back then for those Justice League issues. But I always liked that character. I liked Ice as well. They were a good dynamic, the team of Fire and Ice. Next is Barbara Gordon. Whether she's Oracle or Batgirl doesn't matter. I think she's a great character. Very strong, very opinionated, even to the point where she'll tell Batman what she thinks, and it doesn't really matter. I like her friendship with Dick Grayson. I liked when they were dating. But I could see Dick going with Starfire, though, so I like that dynamic between the two of them. My third one is the first Marvel one that I picked is Firestar. And that goes back to the old Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends days. Matt's going to clobber me over the head. And I've always liked that character. I wish they would use her more in Marvel Universe. Then I put Supergirl, Kara. Doesn't matter if it's pre-crisis, post-crisis. I like Supergirl from Krypton, Superman's cousin, as a character. And I'm glad they're bringing her back. Or brought her back. And the last one I have is Mary Jane Watson. Mostly because that is who I always read. When I read Spider-Man, it was always Mary Jane. I never read any with Gwen Stacy. So for me, it's always been Mary Jane. And when I think of Marvel, the first thing that pops in my head is Spider-Man, and as a result, Mary Jane. So that's my 5.
Cool. Who's next?
You want me to go?
Yeah, I'll be the Big Finish.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't have.
Is that your superhero name?
Yes,
Big
Big Finish.
Crime Boss, the Big Finish.
It's my porn star name.
Oh. All right, that's it for today. I'd have to say, in counting backwards, number 5 would have to be Firestar. Going back to the Amazing Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, that's one of the earliest cartoons I remember watching, and I have a thing for redheads, and she's a redhead.
And her suit, even I can remember as a kid looking at her in that, and
Yeah.
discovering your puberty watching Firestar.
I'd have to say number 4 is Batgirl, but specifically the Barbara Gordon from the animated series when it was in that when it switched over to the WB. I just got the 4th volume of that, and to me she was more feminine than the current Batgirl is now in the comics, but yet she still had the toughness that I don't think Barbara Gordon had when she was Batgirl in the comics. So she was a nice blend of the two, and voiced by Tara Strong. That's a sexy voice right there.
And another redhead.
And another redhead, exactly. Number 3 would be Talia, because first of all, I like the idea of strong women. That I hate a woman that if you could talk down to and they'll take it. I like one that's going to give it back to you. I'm truthful. That can take care of herself, that she can defend herself, and I like the idea of she has that love for Batman, and she's kind of torn between her father and Batman, her beloved. So that always appealed to me. I always liked that idea. Number 2, Power Girl, since pretty much JSA Classifieds. That's really when I started to read her, and I found the character interesting. And I kind of like the idea that she knows there's a running joke with the size of her breasts. I just think the fact that she acknowledges that and pokes fun at that herself is amusing to me. And number 1 is Ty. That I have to say Black Cat, because I have a thing for those dangerous women. But I would have to say probably a little bit ahead of Black Cat would have to be Buffy the Vampire Slayer, just because she was perfectly played by my almost wife, Sarah Michelle Gellar, and that's another one of those strong characters that she had those moments where she could be tender, but at the same time she could also be strong when she needed to, and that I find is very, very sexy and very appealing. So those are my list. That's my list.
There's going to be a new Buffy comic.
I heard it's supposed to be season 8. It's supposed to take off.
Take off, yeah. From
that I might have to read. I'm very curious.
Yeah,
all right, big man.
Big Finish. No, I just kind of struck me that I'm sitting here listening to you four, and next to just Kitty Pryde and Firestar, there's been no other duplicates. And there won't be from my list, because my list is totally different from all of yours. Huh. So that's kind of interesting, because all the other lists we've had at least 2 or 3 of us have agreed on a whole bunch of these. So again, in no order except for the number 1 for me, She-Hulk. I've loved the character since she was brought in. I mean, it took Byrne and his Fantastic Four run to really give her a personality, the fun-loving personality she has. And the last couple of series that they've done with her have just been hilarious and well worth picking up. Plus, she's a strong character, and she's no pun intended. Next for me would be Heather Hudson, who, if you've never read Alpha Flight, was the wife of James Hudson, the original Guardian. I think it was Guardian, because I know she was Vindicator.
Weapon Alpha.
Yeah,
she was a redhead too, I believe.
Yes,
yeah.
Who got pushed into the superhero business, much to her protesting after certain events happened. I don't want to ruin it for anybody who hasn't read Alpha Flight, but you should read Alpha Flight. All 24 of Byrne's issues are great reads. But like I said, she was a reluctant hero. She was, again, a strong character. And I always thought she was just a great character. They kind of weakened her a little bit towards the end of the Alpha Flight, but it was still, those first couple are really great. I had these in my mind, I didn't write them down. Wonder Woman from DC, She'll be I think my only DC entry, just because she's Wonder Woman. It just starting out for me reading the Perez issues all the way through. I've stopped at times and gotten back, and consistently she's just been a great character. They've taken her on a journey. She's gone from warrior to ambassador, back to warrior again, and right now, with Greg Rucka writing it, I think he's hit her as solidly as any writer has hit her in a long time. The warrior mentality, what she's been doing, and I just think she's a great character, and it's just one of those. I'll be interested to see what they do a year later with this one, because I know they're stopping the series, but I'm sure she'll be back for a year later, because that's just too good of a character not to, whether it be Diana or Donna or even Cassie as Wonder Woman. It'll be interesting to see what they do with her. Another strong Marvel character, thanks to Brian Michael Bendis, is Jessica Jones. The Alias series started off, and we've talked about it before, started off with some shocking images and some shocking things that happen that you don't see in your normal superhero comic. But rather than just being a shocking book, he developed a very strong female character, one whose voyage so far I have enjoyed immensely, who they've retroed into continuity when I really normally hate that. They've retroed her into Avengers continuity where it fits, and I just really enjoy watching her deal with the ramifications of her life choices. She's made some bad choices in her life, and it's nice to see pardon me, a book that doesn't sugarcoat it, a book that that just shows her warts and all, but she is still a strong female character. And for me, the last one...
Well, hang on, I want to interrupt, though, when you talk about Alias. Marvel just announced that they're doing an Alias omnibus, which is all 28 issues of Alias and oversized hardcover. And if they do it like they did the FF omnibus, it'll have the letters pages and everything as well. And they didn't release the final price, so they said it's going to be under $70. So it might be $69.99, it might be $59.99. But if DCBS does 50% off like they did with FF, then it's even at $70, it's only $35 for a hardcover with all 28 issues, the whole run of the book. That's perfect. And if you get the letters column with Brian Michael Bendis doing letters and stuff, I mean, was there a letters column in Alias? I don't even know if there was.
I think there was,
because he loves letters columns, so I just assumed there was.
It could have been around the time there wasn't.
But I mean, then it's only barely a buck more than an issue. And, I mean, that's really nice. So, I mean, and I have the issues, but I will be buying that if it's 50% off, I guarantee you. So, anyway.
Yeah. And my last character is Katrina Chovansky. For those of you who haven't read it, she is the female hero, anti-hero of Strangers in Paradise.
Cat.
Yep. And, my brain it's turned itself off right now. She is just such a strong character, such an interesting character. She's really an anti-hero in a way.
Is she one of the main two?
Yeah.
Kachu?
Yeah, Kachu.
That's
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Kachu.
God bless you.
Again, a woman you wouldn't want to F with, because she'd just as soon cut you than look at you. A very confused individual, which is what I like about her. She is not. I mean, you think she's very strong, and she is, but underneath that is just a very confused individual trying to lead her life. And, I mean, if you've read that book from the beginning, you understand why, I couldn't help but fall in love with this character. And it's just... I mean, Francine is a good character, too. I like Francine, but Kachu is just... She's where it's at. So, those are my 5.
I'm really surprised Sue Storm's not on your list.
She was there. If we would have gone to 10, she would have been in there. Just for the sheer burn run of Fantastic Four, turned her from a sideline character, like Brian said, into one of the strongest, as far as I'm concerned, almost the strongest female character as far as power goes in the Marvel Universe. There's just there's just limitless possibilities of what she can do with that power, and as long as she stays conscious, she's a force to be reckoned with.
I think, and I mean I don't know when, but sooner or later, some writer is going to come up with some way to use her powers, and it's going to be like she saves the world. Because I mean, I think that's going to happen. And much like the whole Scarlet Witch thing went down, where it was like, whoa, now not the same kind of effect because her powers work differently, but I think on a grand scale like that, someone's going to open that can of whoop ass, and Sue Storm is going to, do something major sooner or later.
And Jessica Alba will be there to see it.
So you have a game for us, Peter?
Yeah, I came up with a little something.
A little something.
Little something. I'm just going to go and throw out a name of a superhero or a super team. And you have to tell me what artist you would pick. If one artist was... You only were allowed one artist for the rest of their life, your life, or whatever, to draw that book. Who would you pick to draw it? Not writing, just flat-out artist. And you only have one, and they're going to do it for the rest of comics until, So, which artist, fits that character to a T? Can you move beyond your just favorites or what it's going to be interesting. So I'll just flip through and see who I see.
Can the same artist draw more than one book?
Oh, sure, yeah.
I wanted to draw everything.
Yeah.
What was the name of the guy that created the stick figure?
What? I don't get that.
Stikowski.
Sticky Stickerson.
All right, so let's start with a toughie, Spider-Man. You have one artist for the rest of the Spider-Man comics to draw. Who would you pick?
John Romita Jr.
I concur.
Me too.
It was either going to be him or his old man during his heyday. But yeah, I would go with Romita or Romita Jr.
That's funny. So would I. That's funny. Around the room. I missed when he left the book and Mike Deodato took over. I missed.
Oh, yeah. That was a big letdown.
Yeah.
And they talk about the rumors that he might come back to it, or something, and I really hope so, because that's what he should just draw.
Now, what is he? He's going to be drawing something, because somebody was at the store, and they'd asked if he was drawing something, and I knew he was, but I couldn't remember what it was.
He's doing the Century miniseries now, right? Mm-hmm. And they did announce what he's drawing after that, and man, I can't remember it.
Yeah, I can't.
But I think it's another limit. Is it another limited thing? I can't remember.
Okay, I was just wondering if somebody here would remember.
Kevin would.
Yeah, well, yeah.
All right, ready for the next one?
Way to let down the team, Kevin. Way to let down the team.
Batman.
Jim Lee.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't think of the name of the guy that's doing it right now in just the Batman title.
Doug Monk.
Is that who it is? I can't. For the life of me, I can't remember. Because I think that drawing's perfect.
Yeah. It's Doug Mankey.
I don't know.
I liked his stuff in Hush so much that and he drew every single character just about in the Bat universe. So for me,
you know who I really liked, and I haven't seen it. Norm Brayfogle. I loved his run. Mm-hmm. I really did.
You and a lot of other people. He was really popular.
I might have to go with Norm Brayfogle because I'm saving Jim Lee for something else. I know you said we could use him, but I'd like to use one each. This
isn't versus. You don't have to say.
What about you guys?
Neil Adams.
Neil Adams.
He would be my second choice. Yeah.
Just when I think of Batman, I think of Neil Adams.
Just as a sidebar, in that episode of Batman the Animated Series where they did the Legends of the Dark Knight with the Frank Miller, that they actually were going to try to do a Neil Adams in there, but they just ran into time constraints because they said he would have been the third one that they felt really represented the iconic Batman.
Because they did a Bill. I'm sorry, they did a Bill Finger, Bill Finger, and then they did the
Frank Miller.
Yeah, that was a great episode.
Yeah. Do you have one, Matt, for Batman? Oh, you said Doug Mankey. Sorry. I'm going to say Jim Aparo. I know rest in peace, but I really
next to Neil Adams, he's the other guy that I think of when I think of Batman.
Yeah. Green Lantern. It's kind of tough because there's no real artist that ever had his mark on
other than Gil Kane.
Gil Kane and
I'd actually like to see Brian Hitch give it a try. I'd like to see him with, and especially not so much a Green Lantern on Earth storyline, whereas a Green Lantern big space opera, lots of Green Lanterns, lots of stuff. I'd like to see him give it a try.
Who did the Adam Strange miniseries?
Pascal Ferry.
That would fit well for a big space opera type thing for me too, for Green Lantern.
I liked when you said Gil Kane. I kind of was like, oh yeah,
And again, I was also thinking Neil Adams with him as well.
Right. Did anybody see when Dave Gibbons did it in the 80s? Everybody read that one?
Yeah, I've seen him.
That was really good. I like.
Well, Dave Gibbons has good artwork.
Yeah.
Period.
Any answers over there? No.
Not really. I haven't really read enough. I don't really know.
That's fine. X-Men.
Jim Lee.
Oh, is that what you were saying before?
That's my Jim Lee.
John Byrne.
John Byrne.
Oh,
yeah, I'll go with John Byrne for that too.
I did like those Jim Lee X-Men one that revamped. That he could handle
all those characters and stuff,
especially with all those pockets and design, the way he designed them. And there was something glamorous about when he did it.
Right. It has some sort of, not taking anything away from Byrne, because those issues are great, but
right.
The X-Men became serious when Silvestri and then Jim Lee, were drawing them,
I got to pull a Monty Python on you. Which book?
Well, if there was only one X-Men book, yeah. Do you have an answer for that?
No, I was just doing my little shtick.
Just being a smartass.
Yeah.
African or European?
All right, I'll go for an easy one. Fantastic Four.
I don't know.
Fantastic Four.
That's Byrne for me.
It would have to be Byrne, but if you're holding my feet to the fire and saying I could only choose one, and I've already chosen Byrne, then I would go with George Perez.
I don't think I have an answer for that. I haven't read enough FF for it.
From what I see, I would love to. Obviously it can't happen, but Kirby. Bring back Kirby on the craziness of.
You're picking all the dead people.
I know. Well, if I had the Scarlet Witch powers, I could bring them back.
Yeah.
It just was cool to see, the few issues that I did see, how the insane Richards technology and the creativity and.
Now for that I could see Brian Hitch doing, for detail of crazy technology and settings.
Because it's been a while since an artist has really captured the Fantastic Four since Byrne. I mean, Pacheco did a great job, but he didn't last on it. And there hasn't been many, that hasn't really hit one where you could count like 5 artists that really make it good. Superman?
Dead silence.
The stumper.
Yeah, this is a great game.
Shut up.
Just because we're thinking and you're over there lipping off.
What do you mean? I got to think of some good comebacks here, some good one-liners.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't really other than the first couple issues of that Silver Age, that showcase Superman, I never read an issue of Superman. Well, I read those Jim Lee ones. That's right. But I don't really have enough input to know.
I don't have a favorite on him specifically. I don't know who I would pick.
Actually, I'm going to be. I'd like to see what Frank Quitely is going to do with it after the first All-Star. It looked interesting. I mean, I would like to see somebody like him do it, or even somebody like Steve Dillon do it. I mean, he doesn't. Wow. He hasn't done. I mean, he's done the Punisher, but he hasn't done really a superhero book. If you think about it, most of his books revolve around just ordinary people put into extraordinary situations. Preacher, and some of the other books that I've seen him do. I would just like to see what he could do, because really Superman, I mean, it can be driven by big stories, but lately it's been more along the lines of individual stories and some smaller stories. And I would almost like to see what he would do with, watching Superman, in his private side, the Daily Planet stuff, the Home with Lois, the Jimmy Olsen, that kind of thing. I think would be interesting to see what he could do. Plus, I'm trying to think of some other individuals.
You like the All-Star drawing?
Yeah, I did. I'm not a huge Frank Quitely fan, but I liked what I saw.
To me, when I saw it, for some reason, I saw Superman as Putty from Seinfeld.
Well, yeah, he kind of had that tick look to him. He kind of had like the big, massive with the big chin and
which
all that.
I just found a little bit distracting. But
that's a throw. I mean, you think of when Wayne Boring drew him. He was also very barrel-chested, and
I don't mind Mike Turner doing it.
I was gonna say Ed McGuinness. I really
like
he
does
Ed
a good
McGuinness
one as well.
when him and Jeff Loeb did the Superman books.
If it's just Superman, yeah, but I didn't like Batman.
Just Superman, yeah.
The only thing I'd have to say with his is if you look at McGuinness and like Batman, Superman, to me they seemed cartoony until really Michael Turner took it over, and then they seemed no longer cartoons type of thing. They seem more drawing of actual people.
Right.
In a way.
I like the Ed McGuinness stuff because Superman is he is big. You know what I mean? He's a bit. You have to make the stories big with him sometimes. I'm not saying all the time, but when those Ed McGuinness issues, it just screamed power. There was a lot, even though it was, some people didn't like the style or whatever, they thought it was too manga influenced or whatever. It's big. Superman needs to have life and dynamic poses and panels, and I kind of dug that about him. What about Daredevil?
I knew you were going to ask that one.
I got my answer. David Mazzucchelli. I loved David Mazzucchelli on Daredevil.
I would like to see J. Scott Campbell do a few issues of that because I like that one cover.
Oh,
that he did
for the
Kevin Smith run.
Alex Malev.
Yeah, I was gonna say Alex Malev, but then he said Mazzucchelli. It's tough.
I mean,
I like what he did, but not as much as I'm enjoying.
Yeah, I think Malev for me wins. I mean, I thought about Miller because that.
I still think that was some of his best artwork, though.
That was my gut reaction.
I'll be honest with you.
Frank Miller.
Yeah.
I think his artwork has been. He's done better stuff. I mean, it was at the beginning of his career,
right? But I'm saying if you took the Sin City style Frank Miller and put it on Daredevil,
that would be interesting.
That would be pretty cool. But I don't know if I'd want to see it for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So that's why I think I'm going to go with Malev too, because the last 50 issues have been freaking knocked down gorgeous. So I just
I just read. I can't remember. I guess it was. I don't remember what number it was, but it was like 2 ago. Just read that issue, and I'm just like, oh, this artwork is amazing.
Yeah.
And let's see.
You're like a poor man's Alex Trebek over there. He'd have those questions.
I'm trying to pick iconic. I mean, you can't say Sergeant Rock because everyone's going to say Cuban.
What about the Flash?
Oh, okay, Flash. Yeah, there's a good one.
I'll pinch hit for you. Don't worry.
I like.
You won't answer it, but
that's right.
Oh, I can't think. I like the guy that did like the watercolors in the Jeff Johns run.
Scott Collins.
Mike Wieringo.
That's a good choice.
The only Flash I ever read was starting with Jeff Johns' run, so it was all Scott Collins, and then Howard Porter took over.
I liked Howard Porter on.
Yeah, I like it too.
Didn't he start in 226?
Yeah, something around there. No,
right after
much
Johns
206, I think it is.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. But that Scott Collins, man,
covers too?
he really captured something.
And it took me a couple issues to get into Scott Collins, but man, once I got past those first 2 or 3 issues, I really missed it when he got off.
And then he wasn't I didn't enjoy him as much on Marvel Team Up as I did on Flash. Like something about the Flash's villains, maybe he drew the rogues better or something. I don't know, but it clicked.
His artwork is very frenetic, so there's a lot of movement and a lot of stuff going on in it. So that's to me why it
for the Flash.
For me, it fits
sense.
so well for the Flash. I agree with you. I like his artwork, but there was just something missing from the Marvel Team Up stuff. Not that it wasn't good,
right?
But there was just something that's very frenetic.
Well, that's because I got to like him so much on Flash, and then my gut reaction on Team Up was, it doesn't quite. It's still good, like you said. It's still good, but it just doesn't quite rise to the top like Flash. So I'm gonna go Collins. But again, I haven't really hardly read much Flash, so I know.
What about JSA?
I think anybody. I don't know if I'd have an answer for that.
They do so good with those 2 or 3 artists that seem to have done it, and it's seamless.
The one I was going to throw out is Captain Marvel, Shazam.
What about Captain Marvel, the black woman with the afro? Can we do her?
Now, see, him I would think Ed McGuinness, because he is larger than life as well.
I was going to say Alex Ross.
Jerry Ordway.
Well, if you could get Alex Ross to do a monthly book for the rest of his life.
Yeah. I wouldn't argue with that. But, no, I really enjoyed the Jerry Ordway run on Power Shazam.
So, if you reverse and you said, what artist would you pick to do a book? Like, one book?
Any book?
Any book. I would pick him to do Alex Ross to do some kind of team book, so I could get as many different characters as possible.
Yeah.
That's
JLA.
That's
You
JSA.
really bad.
I would love to see
JSA.
him do JSA.
I'm with you on that, Jamie. I'm with you. You get Alex Ross to do JSA. I'm all
As
over
long
that.
as it could be like the Golden Age JSA, where you could have some of the JLA characters in it, not just the current JSA.
Right. Cool.
What about JLA? Brian Hitch.
I like how everyone's taking the game away from Peter. Let me ask one.
Oh, well, all of a sudden everybody likes
Well,
the
there's
game.
some iconic ones he didn't say yet.
I
Yeah,
know,
because
he's falling
like I said,
behind.
it's hard. It's hard to hit the ones that never had a really strong artistic
You're going the way of Chuck Woolery. You're out of here, bud.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't. I'd like to say George Perez on that.
Quarter.
And
He's like, what?
I don't know.
That only
Because
applies
I thought
to
you
you.
said Porter.
No. I'll go with that.
But he would be your Teen Titans guy, though, right?
Yeah.
No.
No?
Tom Grummett.
I was going to say Phil Jimenez, actually. Because I think the way that, if we go with where they're at now, sometimes Perez's style is almost so classic that they become more like icons as opposed to characters, because he's so perfect to how he draws the costuming. Whereas Jimenez is a little more fluid lately, and if you compare the two. So I'd like to see a Jimenez drawn Titans book once,
Now, if Avengers, I would do Hitch, because he did Ultimates.
Ultimate.
For Avengers, I'm going Carlos Pacheco all the way. Because Pacheco is one of the absolute best, and he's got to draw a team book, and
I liked Alan Davis on Avengers.
He would be my X-Men guy.
We're past that, though.
I know.
I'd take his pencil away from him.
Oh, stop.
I would sharpen it till there was nothing left.
That's right. I would just keep sharpening and sharpening and sharpening.
Wheedle it away, didn't
I'd give him that little nub.
Because nobody can draw with a nub.
Give him the little miniature golf pencil and say, "Draw with that, you bastard."
Do you have an
I know
Avengers
it's tough because I'm trying to think if I want to go with people who've done it before that I've enjoyed that I want to see back again, because that would be even though they were crappy stories, I loved was it either John or Sal
Bob
Buscema?
Liefeld, Avengers.
It was either John or Sal Buscema, inked by Tom Palmer. I just really enjoyed those issues. I'm just trying to think of some. Hell, I'll throw one out to one of our listeners. I want to see Mike Norton draw some Avengers. Let's see what he can do with a team book. There you go, Mike. That one's for you.
You got a little something on
What
your
about
nose there.
about Thor? Simonson.
Simonson.
That's
It's
as
too
much
easy.
as I love
End
the
all,
John
be
Romita
all.
Jr. of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No Hulk or Captain America in this icons?
With Cap, actually, I loved. Of course, I always go back to Byrne, but the Mike Zeck run I loved. And if I had to pick one that had done it before, I'd like to see him do it again.
I was going to say Michael Lark, based on those flashback pages from the Brubaker run.
Yeah.
Because, again, I never really read Cap other than when he was in the Avengers, so I don't really know. But, I mean, I loved that Michael Lark stuff. And the Steve Epting stuff is great, too.
I wouldn't mind seeing John Cassidy do it with a different writer. I just think the writer that he did it with kind of took it off into a direction.
I forgot Cassidy. I might put Cassaday on Superman or Shazam, Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Because he draws those, boom figure. Because McGinnis, I like McGinnis, but I think of a cartoon immediately, and so he loses all the oomph of Superman.
It's nice, but it is cartoony.
Yeah, and I never thought... I like to look at his artwork, but I never thought it was an appropriate fit for Superman because of the cartoony nature. And Superman's the least cartoony superhero of all of them.
I see the opposite because of the Fleischer cartoons and because of the way he was originally drawn in the Golden and Silver Age. I think it fits his character. Sometimes when they make him too realistic and human, you lose why he's Superman. He's Superman for a reason, so... That's kind of why I picked it.
I'd have to say, for Justice League, the people that are doing the show, the cartoon, because I think that, it's different than the comics, but I think drawing it really brings that to life to you, that even though it's a cartoon, it catches your attention. I think everybody's nicely drawn. I guess that's rotating on who actually draws them all the time, but they seem dead on to the character. They personify what I would say you're trying to describe, Peter, with Superman, that each character, the way they're drawn, it's not too cartoony, but it's enough that their character stands out for Superman stands out for being a Superman. Right. And they do that with each character.
So send us your email.
Post on the forum. Start a thread on the forum.
Cool.
So we doing an off the rack?
Yeah, you want to break it up with a Stump the Rios or something? Or because we're talking. Break it up.
Why they listen? They listen to us because we talk. Criminy.
He just doesn't want to think.
Oh, I have my.
Now we're out of sync.
You son of a bitch.
There you have it.
Watch me get stumped.
You got us out of sync. I hope you get stumped.
Of course, now the first question is, who is your daddy and what does he do?
He lays in a box 6 feet under.
This is another video. It's North Star, and for every answer you get wrong, well, you just leave your own imagination.
You pooped out on that one.
All right.
Work on that for...
Question number 1. This one's from Marcus Montgomery.
Marcus, he's not up to the challenge.
Got lost in his own museum once.
Question number 1. Name the famous dead American comedian that the Major Cerebus character Lord Julius is based on.
Whoa.
Jamie, you know this, right?
Z.
Yeah.
E-Z.
Easy.
And the bead of sweat comes down to Rios.
As soon as you see him.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Famous American comedian?
Yeah.
Dead. You bet your life.
Charlie Chaplin.
Groucho Marx.
You just said you bet your life. I didn't hear you.
I gave you the clue.
Well, they would have screamed at us for that.
What does Groucho Marx have to do with You Bet Your Life?
That was his TV show.
Oh, the only thing I know about You Bet Your Life is the Sesame Street ripoff that they do. I never actually saw the show. So.
And of course, no neither reference.
Because you were young.
Question 2. Golden Age Batman question. Name the organization led by Napoleon lookalike Carl Kruger that tries to achieve world domination in Detective Comics 33.
Starbucks.
But it should be.
The Scarlet Horde, or the Scarlet Army.
Yeah,
0 for 2.
They've been around.
Question 3. First appearing in Amazing Spider-Man 272, Jalome Beecher was originally a chemical engineer. Name the obscure costumed villain that he becomes in this issue, and name his power. I wonder if Kevin would know this.
What is he?
Kidding me?
What was he? He was a what?
A chemical engineer.
Is that stupid slide character? The one that his webs couldn't stick to him and he would slip around and you're shaking your
That
head.
is correct.
That's it?
Slide.
Aw, geez, pulled it out.
Just out from under the guillotine.
He invents a super slippery suit so he can slide all over the place real fast and Spidey's webs don't stick to him.
Yeah.
I guess that Marvel encyclopedia you have there in front of you really helped you out this time.
Yeah, flip through it and look for a name, right, sure. I remember that. He had that wacky, stupid white costume. Cool.
It is. Now, can we do an off the rack?
Sure.
Peter had his moment.
Did I talk about this?
Yes. Well, I
just mentioned that it was
I don't
good.
think it was during, like,
it wasn't
one
an
of the
off the rack.
segments, yeah.
All right, I'm going to do it again because I think it's worthy. I picked up the digest of Marvel Live Wires. The name of the Clockwork Thugs, yo. That's the name of the. Let me see here. It's written by Adam Warren and penciled by Rick Mays. Inks by Jason Martin and Norm Rapmund. Remember him from Image days. And colors by Guru FX. It was really very cool. It's about a bunch of robots who have to do some cleanup work for the government, and it was 6-issue miniseries. The artwork is quite good. I really, really enjoyed it, and the storyline was just fun, action, and they it's basically on the fringes of the Marvel universe. AIM is involved and some Sentinels are involved, but really it doesn't feature any major Marvel characters or anything. But it was really cool, and I'm really hoping that there's more of this in the future. I know it was written as a miniseries, but they left it open-ended so that they could pick it up with another miniseries if they got the interest or whatever. If you just want something fun to read, not a lot of complex continuity, and some really, really nice artwork, then I definitely recommend checking it out. I mean, it's only $8, so it's not a huge investment.
I like Rick Mays.
Yeah, I actually don't know. I'm not familiar with his work, so.
He did an Arsenal miniseries way back.
But it's really, really good stuff.
It's kind of similar to Runaways type art, a little more cartoony. What other style does this remind me of? Well, if you know Adam Warren, he's the big, he does a lot of manga-ish stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
It doesn't really scream manga though.
No,
when you're looking at it.
This artwork does it though. No.
Yeah.
He did a 3-issue mini. I think it was 3 issues for a Gen 13 miniseries.
Really?
That was really good. Same manga-y type stuff.
It's fairly it's written fairly sophisticatedly with a good vocabulary and such. So it's not. People think that most of these digest stuff are kids things, but this is definitely entertaining for an adult because it's really written on a higher level than a lot of comics.
How many fricking spheres do you give it?
I would definitely give that 4 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5. I'll say, just for what it is, for just comic book fun.
Who's next?
I'll go next. Since this is off the rack, I literally took this off the rack last night while I was at the store and read it. By the time you hear this, it will have hit the stands. I read it off the new from Marvel rack. I read Son of M, basically the story of what happens to Quicksilver after the whole House of M, and let's just say he's not one of the 198 anymore, and it's going to be how he's going to deal with it. And it's a nice setup issue. Spider-Man makes an appearance. So there's a little bit of that resolving from the end of House of M. And kind of a very nice ending setup. I won't reveal any more than that, but the ending sets it up, so I really want to see what they're going to do with it. And I didn't read it because I have it ordered, and I don't like to read stuff I have ordered. But X Factor, Peter David, Ryan Sook, I looked at the artwork, and it looks fantastic. So I can't imagine Peter David's going to do a bad job writing it. If you like Ryan Sook's artwork, I've seen it. I was just saying the Zatanna miniseries from DC. I think he did part of the She-Hulk series. first miniseries. I know he did something with Hellboy 2, either PRD or a Hellboy thing for Dark Horse. Great artwork. Looks like it's going to be good. So that's mine. Son of M. I give it.
Who did the Son of M?
I can't think of who did the artwork. The artwork was nice. I mean, it wasn't. It was more along the lines of like a Michael Lark type style, or even an Alex Malev type, like gritty, dirty kind of backgrounds. Nothing was like fresh and pristine and clean. But I think it's well worth a look, and it'll at least get me to pick up the second one off the shelf and look at it. But Peter's giving me the new thing. It's Roy Allen Martinez. David Hine wrote it. He's one of the top 10 terrific writers for Marvel. And like I said, it looks interesting and well worth a look. 3 frickin' swears.
So a frickin'.
5. Yep, a frickin' swear.
I'll go next. I'm currently reading it. I haven't finished it yet. I first heard about this on Mike Norton's Crankcast, and it is Will Eisner's The Plot, which is a graphic novel, and it tells the story of the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, which is a book that was written by I believe it was a Russian person in France who was trying to help the Tsar in Russia come up with something, and this is where I'm just not complete with it yet. And they explained it on their podcast, number 9. They go through a whole little explanation of everything, and they do it very well because the woman that bought it, Jenny, she's a history buff, and that's why she bought it. And I picked it up because it's so out of the ordinary for me to read something like this that I wanted to give it a try, and Will Eisner would be worth risking something like this on.
Sure.
And no matter how many times this book is debunked as fake, it tells of a supposed Jewish plot to take over the world, which sounds crazy. But Adolf Hitler has used it. Even it says in here Henry Ford has used it. And it keeps getting reprinted and printed, and people keep buying it all over the world, even to today. I think the last printing was just last year in 2004. And no matter how many times this book is debunked as fake and plagiaristic of an earlier work, people still believe in it. They just keep buying it, reading it. So this tells a history of that book, and it interested me when they talked about it. So I went and picked it up. If you do hear about it or you listen to the Crankcast and you like what you hear, it's found in the world history section of like Barnes & Nobles or Borders. It's not even in the graphic novel section, and it's The Plot by Will Eisner.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah, I've wanted to pick that up ever since I read about it. I love Eisner's stuff. I especially love his semi-autobiographical and real-life storyline stuff. So that I read a review of that from I believe Peter David did a review on it, which was I wanted to pick it up. So it's good to know it's out there and where to find it.
And I think Will Eisner draws himself into it towards the end, asking questions about things. And I know it was completed in the last month of his life, which I think he was. The way the little inside cover reads, it seemed like it was going to be the first in a series of historical books that he was possibly going to write. I don't know that. I'm just thinking that that's what I took it as.
I heard that Peter David is planning to take over the world.
Of course he is.
And that's why he talked about that as to distract you so that he can come up with his own plan.
This was look over there as he's stealing your money.
Exactly, yeah.
I'd have to say, as this is my first off the rack segment, it was not explained to me appropriately, so I brought Playboy with Charisma Carpenter on. No, I'm assuming this is just something you normally wouldn't read that you just picked up.
Just something you
Something you read off the rack
that you thought.
liked.
It can be new, it can be old.
No, you know what? I was at a place in Patterson, New Jersey, and last Wednesday, Joker's Child, nice comic shop in there, and trying to pick up Infinite Crisis #3, but of course hasn't come out yet. And I wound up picking up every issue of Spider-Man the Other, so I'm all caught up all the way up to part 7, and it's. I'll tell you what, the things I've been reading on the forum are exactly the way the story is going. I'm obviously not going to give anything away, but it's definitely building up, and now I'm actually going to make sure I pick up to continue with the story, because I am curious about where things are going, and I'm not familiar with, was the villain at Moreland? No, I don't really know the backstory with him, but it just gives you, I can pick it up and I can follow what's going through, and obviously, the problems that he's causing Peter in it. But no, that's actually an extremely good read, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out till the end of the series.
Cool. How many freaking swears did you give it? Out of 5?
Out of 5? I'd say maybe 4. 3.5, 4.
3.5, 4.
Yeah.
My choice, and I've had this for a while, and I just never brought it up, but this is a perfect segment to do, is the second year of Gail Simone's Birds of Prey. Issues 68 through 80. Gail Simone, Ed Bennis on art, Joe Bennett artwork as well. And it was good. I think Birds of Prey needs to be a more important book, because it's a female writer writing about some of the strongest female characters, and every time I read it, I always enjoy it. The first year was more like action. The second year was more about the three of them, Oracle, Huntress, and Black Canary. It really delved into like their interaction and how they're building themselves as a team, and the inclusion of Huntress, because she's like the black sheep of the Batman family. And I really liked it, and I thought they nailed a lot of the characters. She really knows how to write them. Rose and Thorn is in it, and at the end of that year, that's when they get the new headquarters, the Airy One, and Lady Blackhawk is in it now, and
who gave them that Airy One?
Blue Beetle.
That's right.
It's I put on here. I wonder if
Ted
it's
Kord.
Yeah.
Ted Kord. Yeah, I wondered if it was his last appearance before he died. And it's really it's firmly in the DC universe. She uses a lot of different things. There's one or two storylines that I don't like the whole Savant thing, the male who started off in a villain in year 1 and is now working for her. Some of his stuff, I wonder where she's going with that. But as far as characterizations goes, and it's a good book, and I wish DC would get behind it even more. I mean, I almost think they think it is very popular because it's included in the Bat books or whatever, but I think they should
not so
do
much
more.
anymore. I don't believe.
No, they moved out.
I don't believe you'll find that in the Batman section. I don't even think that has the logo.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. Yeah,
because once after the whole War Games thing, when they left Gotham, that kind of just really separated the book from the Batverse.
Right. That book has always been consistently one of my favorite books, and like when I go to my pack of books, I usually pick out Batman, Justice League, Justice Society, Birds of Prey is right in there with Flash. That's like my top 5 DC books.
Yeah, and most of her run, I know there's at least 2 trades out right now, which would probably cover just her first year. Some of the artwork,
Busty LaRouge.
Yeah, I wish they would tone down the TNA. I mean, it's almost like they think that they have to have that to get male readers, and it's
and
like,
you know what? You can read that without looking at that. Like that.
Right.
That doesn't jump out at you. That's catching your eye. I mean, you can read the dialogue and just find the book interesting.
Right. Yeah, because I think her stories and her dialogue, I think it transcends the TNA artwork. I mean, you don't need that aspect of it. It's not an image book where they're only relying on that. So I really enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to getting into her third year, which is more Identity Crisis and Infinite Crisis oriented, or I should say Villains United oriented. So check that out if you haven't. It's I give that about like a 4.5 out of 5 freaking swears.
Do you think they mix that up with Huntress getting in there because of the series that was on WB? Because I think that was shortly around that time when it was starting to fail.
It makes sense though.
Yeah,
it does make sense. I like her, and I like the inclusion.
I think it's perfect in there. I mean, that's a book that I don't read every issue, but when I pick it up, I enjoy it. And to me, as going back with what Jamie said about Wonder Woman being a powerful female hero, I mean, to me, I would say that's the female team, the Birds of Prey. They have that niche that. Yeah. And you know what? If they were 3 guys, it wouldn't make a difference. I think the same. You can look at that as not saying, well, they're women. I mean, you can look at just the characters and the dialogue, and and whatnot, and just see that as a powerful team itself.
Did anybody see on the forum that somebody posted the listings for Newsarama for future DC solicitations? Well, I couldn't resist. I went on and read some of them. Some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Some really weird, interesting stuff going to happen. Not going to tell you anything I read, but a lot of weird, interesting things going to happen in the next year with DC.
Let's do a voicemail here.
Oh, Brian, you're here.
Hey guys, it's Mario, also known as Death and Calabra, on the board. I was just wondering what you guys thought of the upcoming New Universe event that's supposed to be taking place at Marvel next year. It is, I believe, the 20th anniversary coming up, but I'm pretty primed for it. New Exiles issues are awesome, and I'm wondering if it's just like, it harkens back to 20 years ago with Crisis on Infinite Earth and Marvel's New Universe, and Infinite Crisis now, and the New Universe event next year. So, just wonder what you guys thought about it, excited or not, or whatever. Love the show. Bye.
Warren Ellis.
Warren Ellis.
Over, yeah.
I've picked up those issues of Exiles. I haven't read them yet, but I picked them up. I'm very interested.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of curious about Warren Ellis doing New Universe. I don't know. I have to wait to see. Wait until I see a little bit more previews and a little bit more of his story, maybe before I might even just flip through it just to see. I like the New Universe. Be interesting to see what he does with it. And
I never read the New Universe, so I can't. I mean,
right.
I'm intrigued. When we had that episode, we talked about it, and it was a big deal for Marvel at the time. It was a huge endeavor. And then they built this whole thing, and then they ended it all. But in comics
Quickly.
terms, that's not the end. Nothing is ever the end. So there's this whole universe that's sitting there untapped. And I think it was one of those things where, Jim Shooter said, we got to do something big. We got to create something new. And they might have forced it a little bit. Like, let's make a new universe. And what teams are we going to have? What characters are we going to have? And to come up with all those ideas all at once out of nothing,
something's
not going to be right. Yeah. But now you let it smolder for 20 years, and then you bring somebody like Warren Ellis, who especially when it comes to sci-fi and stuff like that, and maybe he read it when they were coming out. Maybe he's been thinking about it for 20 years, and now he goes, I have a few ideas I could do with that. And so now maybe it'll be more natural. Maybe it'll won't be so forced, and we'll get to see something interesting. It'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah.
Especially if they end up connecting it, bridging the gap somehow with the regular Marvel Universe. Again, just so it's a little more grounded, just so we know where it's coming from. I don't really want every Marvel character in the new universe, but just a little something to hook us in and let us remember that we're in Marvel somewhere, somehow,
Franklin's going to be playing with a ball that contains the new universe.
Yeah, anything like that would just be cool. Just enough to...
I did take a little, when they announced it, Joe Quesada said something like, nobody really remembers that fondly, and there were no real fans of the new universe. I'm like, no, I was.
No.
Yeah. But should be interesting.
Yeah, and what are they gonna do? They're gonna do specials, one-shot specials first of most of each individual series, but then a couple of the lesser ones are going to be rolled into one shot,
right? Like
DP, was it DP or no the well, I don't even remember what they were, but like 5 of them are getting their own one-shot specials, and then whatever ones were left over are into one shot, and then he's doing some ongoing. How many titles is ongoing? Is there just one ongoing title?
Just one, like to start like a new thing, or to bring his own ideas into it?
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember the details, but it's coming.
Yeah. God, 1986, the 20th year anniversary of 1986, the greatest year in comics.
Stop it.
Oh, I feel old.
Yeah, stop it.
And I think that'll wrap us up for today. Reminder that this episode was sponsored by the New York Comic Con, February 24th through 26th. at the Jacob Javits Center in New York City. You can get your tickets online now. $15 for a Friday ticket, $25 for a Saturday or Sunday ticket, and $35 for all 3 days. We're going to be there, and we hope you come down so we can meet you. Jeez, Matt, try not to get too excited there. If you'd like to send us an email, it's comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. If you want to leave us a voicemail, it's 206-888-4805. Check out our website, comicgeekspeak.com. Thanks to the guys at upallnightgaming.com for hosting the website. Please vote for us at Podcast Alley. We're making a big push trying to get to 400 votes. We're at 221 as we record this, so submit. And remember those 2 new contests we got going on. And a reminder that we're brought to you in conjunction with worldfamouscomics.com, your spot on the internet for the best comic book and entertainment-related columns, contests, features, reviews, news, resources, and more. And as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.